Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of The Current Temp with Joey Sulipeck. And this is a special one. It's the first one, but it's not just special for me for that reason. It's special because of who my guest is. Here on The Current Temp today is my very own best friend, Mearl the Legend Purvis, in person.
Do you see that it matches my colors?
I did not even know that.
He did not know that.
I did not know that.
I love this.
For people who may not know Mearl, the two of you on the planet, 8 Emmy Awards, a Peabody Award, a Noah's Ark full of best of categories.
And we can move on.
And an upcoming, I almost said it again.
An
I can't say
upcoming
it. A big one coming up.
Something that's really big.
Now,
but we can't talk about it.
I can't talk about it yet, but you're going to hear about it soon.
But you'll hear about it.
I want to read a text. Mearl did not know this text was coming in when she came in here today. This is a note. I asked a friend of mine, Chris Franklin, is the general manager of ABC 24 here in town, ABC news affiliate, who has been in the business for a long time.
Great guy.
Running a news station, had this to say about Mearl Purvis.
Wow.
Mom, auntie, sister, mentor, and friend. Mearl has touched the lives of so many people in the news industry and all over Memphis and the surrounding area. She's truly special because she connects with everyone. It doesn't matter how much money you make or where you live, whether you're from Mississippi, Memphis, rural Tennessee, or Arkansas. She has so many qualities that journalists strive to obtain. She can connect with people on an authentically human level. She's a great journalist and a great person.
Wow. Do you agree with that?
I've asked him to write something about
Chris.
me.
Wow.
I said,
nice.
What about me? Right? Say something nice about me. He said he was tired. Listen, and I want to mention this
because people know how funny Joey is.
No. Listen, I am so sincere because this is a special moment for me having you here, because not only is this first show on a venture, we'll see what God does with this, if we continue or not.
Gonna be
but
big.
3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, I walked away from a news desk not knowing it would be our last time to anchor together.
God, wait, well, that's 3 years ago.
3 years ago, and my first time doing this back, you were gracious enough to make time in your very busy schedule to come visit.
It's not like we haven't talked almost every day.
Yeah.
Since
By the
3
way,
years ago.
just so you know, Mearl is the aunt to my children. She is best
Proud.
friends with my wife, my sister, my aunt. She's part of the family, and so thank you for taking time.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I one of the first things I asked was, where's the boy?
Yeah,
who's home from college?
He'll be here eating very, very soon. Listen, such a long history of the two of us, but you in this industry. Let's jump it around a little bit. Let's start with this.
A long time.
Here's a quick one. What inspired you to go towards news?
Joey, how do I not look like I was in news 70 years? I don't know.
Well, you
It may be this
35-year-old,
Brett hat.
I don't understand Generation X.
Do you realize where this hat came from?
Where?
Speaking of our longevity.
Wait a minute. Well, okay, I might have a surprise for you, but go ahead. Where did it come from?
Okay. Joey and I used to do a live show called Smoke on the Water. Was that the name of it?
That was
Smoke
the
on the
name
Water.
of it.
In fact, I Googled it. They've erased us.
Did they?
We are nowhere to be found on the internet. But it was a banging show on the Memphis in May barbecue cooking contest, festival, international.
We did it, 4 or 5 years?
And then we moved to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Remember that year?
Yeah.
Well, that year, there was a woman walking around, and I had her in a hat, and she was like, okay, listen, you need this hat. And she sold it to me. And I may have overpaid. I don't know, but I really like it. It's that old.
You did wear it on that broadcast.
I did. And I wore a black one up to that point.
Yeah.
And she said, you need this one. And I bought it, and I love it. And it's still, and people are wearing cowboy hats a lot now, but this one is.
No, you stood out.
This is original, and it was old.
So Smoke on the Water, we had a giant scaffolding down at Tomley Park. We did it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and it was a half-hour show from up high with all the barbecue smoke, live and crazy.
Bugs cold.
and people celebrations occurring.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to ask you. We're going to jump around here a bit.
We are. Is that okay with y'all?
Yes. What do you have there?
This is basil.
From?
The executive producer's
The executive
garden.
producer's garden. All right, they were out in the garden before they came in. All right, I'm going to ask you a TV news question.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking back about all the changes we've seen. This goes for you as well.
Wow.
That when I started TV news, no internet, no smartphones or cell phones. Wow. Reporters had to carry quarters in their pocket. You remember those days. Changes
I started
like
with film.
That's right, film.
Yeah.
And now we're all digital. But remember when we went from the big fat TVs to thinner TVs?
Yeah.
And talk about this for a minute, because I remember the consternation amongst every woman in the station when we went to high def.
And I came to you and said, Joey, this is not good. And you said, you were so confident. I said, Joey, what am I going to do? And you said, you're not going to have any trouble. Those were you've probably forgotten that. You said, you are not going to have any trouble.
Well, am I wrong?
I foolishly
No.
believed him.
You can't, listen. But that was a major change.
That was a major change.
All right. Now, speaking of major change.
Because it shows everything.
Oh, well, I want you to look at this graphic. All right. This is from, I believe, a J.P. Morgan study. I believe that's who did this. And this is fascinating, friends. This is the last 2 years, okay? 2 years of ad revenue. Total spending ad revenue. And I'm going to just make it real simple for you. If you look at the green and the blues, blue is Google. That's in hundreds of millions of dollars getting to billions. And green is Meta or Facebook. Red is television. This is how much ad revenue is being spent. Now, those other colors, that's Amazon, Snapchat, Pinterest, X, Reddit. The two big ones, blue and green. Now, this is going to be probably even a bigger discrepancy going into 24, 25. I show this to show how much things have changed. And people see this at home because of an ever-changing cast of people on air, or maybe how the hardware is what's being bought. That's how much the money has changed. Seeing
this represents what people are spending for ads?
Total advertising revenue, how much money's coming in. The bulk of it is going to blue is Google, ad revenue online. Green is Meta, Facebook. Facebook is getting...
Is that Facebook and Instagram?
Google,
maybe?
Facebook. The Instagram is part of, I believe Google owns, Meta owns it. Facebook owns Instagram. So Facebook, Instagram's in here with Facebook. Google would be YouTube, YouTube, those things. TV is in red.
Oh, boy. That explains a lot.
Well, I just think it's a fascinating point to talk about. As we left TV, I was in it for 25 years. You were in it for just
more than 30.
More than 30. How much things have changed and how we're going to formats like these. Right?
YouTube, which will probably be in that 20.
YouTube's in the blue.
Okay. If you look at this shrinkage, then it naturally follows to me, and I'm not a financial expert like you, but it follows to me that you're going to have to either lay people off because your revenue is not keeping up with that big line on the budget called hiring, labor, so HR. So you're either going to have to lay people off, or you're going to have to hire people that earn less money.
That have less experience.
And have less experience.
Well, I just read this week, Warner Brothers is spinning CNN off because they said it is dragging down their entire corporation. CNN is about to become its own separate entity, and they told all these CNN people, be prepared for massive salary cuts, layoffs, and to do more with less. And that's exactly what we faced.
That's exactly what we faced.
For many years.
Every year it was... Do you remember the year they cut our salaries?
Oh, do I?
No, I should ask
Wait a
Lisa.
Minute. Do I? Do I remember
I should
that?
ask the executive producer.
As I crack a tooth? Do I?
And it was just like, we're going to tear up your contract.
This is happening. This is happening.
You can sign it or not.
And that was pre-streaming.
And it was thousands. We're not talking about, we're going to take $500 here. It was
a massive
thousands
hit.
Of dollars.
And listen, anybody's had to have taken a hit on a paycheck. You know what that's like. And historically, people in TV news don't make a lot of money. That's one of the misconceptions. You start out very, very low. And
I started out making $8,000.
See, I think I was making $18,000 before taxes with my first job.
5 years later?
I know.
God. And when I left there, I left Jackson, Mississippi, where I started, at $8,000. And then I was offered a job in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I was bumped up to $14,000. And I remember saying, what am I going to do with all this money?
What are you going to do?
I didn't know what I was going to do with all that money.
What are you going to do with all these ramen noodles?
So, like any good person who didn't really understand money at the time, I got an apartment that I liked versus what I could afford.
Right.
And Let's do a show.
You want on money management?
Oh,
okay.
please.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
All right.
keep-
So, but anyway, the changes. So look at the salaries. You said that they don't make a lot of money, and it's true.
Yeah.
When we start out, we really,
Yeah,
it's nothing.
It's terrible. And you've got to keep hair, makeup, clothes, appearance on a shoestring budget
Absolutely.
for years.
For years. They used to give us, talk about your question, changes. We used to get money for clothing,
Yeah.
makeup, or we could write it off. And then that just, well, I stopped mine. Do you know that I stopped mine? Because we had to justify everything.
Yeah.
Right? And if you got money, you had to justify it. But I didn't think it meant that somebody who never wears anything other than the same 4 or 5 items could tell me, this blouse is too expensive.
Well,
So I said, I tell you what, you keep that money and I'll just pay for my own clothing.
by the way, I'm going to reveal some things you didn't know I was going to reveal.
Okay.
I have watched Mearl Purvis for many years go to these young women working in a station who were making very little money, meet them in the back parking lot, and load them down with the clothes she had
How do
paid
you know
thousands.
that?
I just know things.
How do you do?
I are smart.
You are Mensa.
Listen.
Now I'm not Mensa, so don't be looking
No,
at
no.
me thinking I'm going to have the answers.
I'm being
to stuff.
serious. This
Joey,
woman.
I'm being serious. Joey belongs to Mensa.
Stop that. We are.
Brainiac.
I'm talking about a person who has. I don't know. You don't broadcast that kind of thing. Just gave these clothes away so that people could get use out of them. I mean, it is a tough industry, as you well know.
It
And
is
talk for a
tough.
moment about what women in particular face. Would you say, Mearl, that women are judged harshly that are on air or not? Would you? What would you? I don't know. Do you have a thought on
Okay,
that?
I'm going to bring up my little brother, Daryl Green,
Yeah.
who's the quirkiest human being you've ever met. One month he said, I was talking about lamenting how awful it is that we face criticism for how we wear our hair, criticism if we wear wigs, criticism if we don't, criticism for the colors, criticism if we wear the same dress. I really had an acquaintance who would call and say, you wore that blouse like 2 weeks ago. She knew. So Daryl said, doesn't bother us men. He said, I'll wear the same jacket. He wore the same black jacket, I think, for 2 weeks, and he was right.
And never pants.
No, never any pants. But no one cared about no pants. They said nothing about
No,
that jacket.
listen.
Daryl was right.
I watched this for a couple of decades, how much more harshly women were treated on air. Honestly, you're exactly right. You could wear the same suit and just change a tie.
Thank you, Joey, for being so aware. Thank you, executive producer,
Well,
for making him so aware.
I've got a long, healthy marriage who has made me aware. But I don't know that people realize
Yeah.
that you face such scrutiny and criticism. And you said to me when you were talking about retiring, when we first started talking about it, you said, Joey, you're going to walk by me on the street and have no idea it's me.
And when I leave this show, you won't know.
Yeah.
You won't know it's me if you
Yeah.
walked and saw me in Kroger.
Well, everybody
Lisa
loves
always knows me at Kroger. The Krogers.
The Krogers. All right. Here's another question for you. What do you have a particular challenge that stuck out? And I know we've talked about challenges for many years. We've worked
This
with.
show is not long
Yeah, this is a
enough.
family show. All right, we're family friendly.
It's a family-friendly show.
Is there one in particular? There might not be, because that's a tough question to answer. Is there something that just says this was a tough thing to deal with? There were personalities. That's always a case in any workplace.
Well, I think that, do you know, one of the toughest things I've dealt with in my career was towards the end of my career. When I was retiring, I asked, can Joey come to my retirement? And I was given an answer. It was long. It was very thoughtful. It was still not what I wanted to hear. And I will leave it at that. But that made my temperature rise. And it has gone down only a little.
I did not.
Because it was my last hurrah. And the person I came in with, the only one left, was not there. And I asked a simple, can I have Joey come back in? And it was a very kind and thoughtful no. And I don't know, That was the one that sticks in my mind. And it's not because it's the newest one. It's no.
Probably because it was at the end. And so real quickly, and I'm not going to spend much time on this, I left TV news under the wrong reasons for something that I don't think was fair. I'm not going to go into detail.
I don't think it was fair.
That I wasn't allowed to explain or
go
or
to
say,
the Facebook page. Nobody thinks it was
and
fair.
just say, I'm sorry for all this confusion. But God had a plan. And so that's kind of why I'm so thrilled Mearl is here with me tonight to kind of continue where we were and just have a conversation. And I didn't mean for you to dredge up that memory.
God, I'm sorry for pulling your leg. You were right.
No, it's all good.
I was like, no.
There are some very dear moments from Mearl and our friendship and lots of people. But anyway, let me ask you this. Let's turn the corner. Here's a good question.
You asked me about a challenge. I spoke my truth.
Breathe out. This is a question I love. How do you define success?
Ooh.
Because people will come up and go,
it's not
she's
probably
a success.
not what they think.
How would you define it?
I think it is there are people in my life I wanted to be proud of me. I wanted my mom to be proud. I wanted my family to be proud. I wanted my daughter to be proud. I wanted to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I didn't want to do something on Thursday, and then on Friday I could not look myself in the mirror. And so I think if you can carry out your individual responsibilities, and I believe very strongly in that, we are responsible for ourselves. I'm able to do it with God's help. Now, other people find some other means, but that's how I have been able to do it. The support of family and friends, a salary. But I felt successful because I did not stab people in the back to get where I was. I didn't lie on people. I didn't cheat my way to the top. I didn't sleep my way to the top. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of these things. It's just it's me. And
keep preaching.
For me, that was success for me. That was it.
That's strong. Watching how people treat men and women in TV news, it's always a moving target. I think I think you did have it much harder. Not that we all didn't have struggles, but there are just things you feel like you have to prove. But I will tell you this: you did all that with grace and aplomb, and to your credit, helped. I cannot tell you how many people you have helped. I've watched over the years. Behind the scenes, no credit, no glory, just helping move them along their path, move them into their career. And I know they
Joey
appreciate
Sulipeck, since I know you cut down a forest for a friend in their home in South Memphis with you and your hacksaw and drug the weeds out. And I know you felt like $1 million. Helping others is not just about them. Yeah. It's also about how it makes us feel. And I know you understand.
Well, we're called to serve.
We're called to serve.
A big part of being in TV news is being in the community. Not everybody gets that opportunity. You were always involved. Some of your passions were education and kids reading and the food bank. And it was a very unique
senior
space.
Citizens.
Right, senior citizens and making sure people got meals. I mean, I saw that firsthand for a long time. All right, let me change it to this.
Wait, this is called the current temp. So I'm adding my current temp. I want you to check the temperature on this thing.
All right.
People walking around naked. I know the sheer clothing is the thing. I get it. I understand fashion. I know you probably don't think I do, but I get fashion.
Yes, you do.
I'm just and I get it. And if it were just people with great athletic bodies, you could easily say, "Oh, Mearl, you're just jealous because you don't have a body like that," and you would be right. But it's everybody, and they're naked in the Krogers. They're naked at Costco. I was in Costco at the salmon counter. It's at the end of this big rack. It's like all beautiful salmon, and I look up and I'm looking at a naked woman's backside. And I just don't understand it. And I know it's about liberty and freedom and expression, but I don't want it near my salmon or my apples.
No.
Can you stay out of the vegetable aisle and the fresh seafood? I just have that?
I will tell you, I will admit.
I'm not the only one. I know other people.
I have had a long-standing stance against stretchy pants that has included my whole family. My daughter, I would go,
I know.
You're not wearing stretchy pants. See in your business. This is a family show, so kids, business means corporation, a corporate event. I don't know, and I think it has to do with, listen, we know we're in culture wars. The advent of social media has changed the way our kids see everything, including themselves. And I believe in working to pull that back. And so let me say something. I love that you're dressed like this because you had to dress to the nines 5 to 6 days a week for 35 years. I love your hat and Grizzlies shirt.
Thank you. It is
you go to games all the time.
Okay, I think on the shows, the current temp, I think every guest should bring one thing that shows you who they are.
Okay.
Tells a little bit about who they are.
Like something about you.
I love hats. This one is the one I wear on the lawnmower out in the country.
That's your lawnmower
This
hat.
is a new one. Can y'all see it?
Can you see that?
Executive producer, can you see that?
Executive producer, can we see that giant hat?
Okay. So I just got this one from Amazon.
hat.
It's a men's hat. This one I'm leaving
What?
for the show.
What?
This is the one I'm having to replace, and it has taken me through 3 seasons of mowing and digging and weeding. And
That is you knocked the top right out of that.
Gold Coast Sunwear.
That's going to go somewhere on the current temp studio.
This is for the current temp.
I love it.
This is who I am. I like the quiet in the country. I like my riding mower. I like the dirt, the weeds. And so you get my hand-me-down as a gift for the show.
Thank you. And folks, that'll be on eBay in 12 minutes. I love it. All right, let me put this right here because I got some surprises coming your way.
Oh, okay. Wait, do I need to move this, Lisa?
Executive producer?
Oh, okay.
Okay, she's good. All right. A couple of quick questions, and we're going to wrap this up. Give me a particular memory, a good memory, a fun memory. If I were to start, let me prime the pump.
Okay.
And when I start it, do not go into detail on it.
Okay.
But one of my fun memories is you coming into the weather center. This must have been 10, 15 years ago.
Where are we going?
With a $50 bill and a line of people. And you said, Joey, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to work. I'm doing weather stuff. You said, we're going to have a dance off and you're the judge. I go, what? I'm working. And you had a number of our female coworkers. You put music on, and they got down in Studio A, and I had to pick which one won the dance card. You remember that?
Of course I remember that. I've never seen people dance that hard. It was like...
I had to keep... It was a dance off, like of professional people.
I think I had $100.
Was it 100?
And I had 100 for the winner, and maybe because they were dancing so hard, I got some more money.
You kept giving out money.
Because it was like, I can't let this person who is wringing wet with sweat... who isn't going to win, I can't let them go away empty-handed. So I just kept finding money to give to them. But everybody felt so happy.
Well, you were good at that, at trying to get people together.
I would buy food, and then, as is the case very often, it started to feel transactional.
Right.
And it wasn't transactional. It wasn't quid.
It was
pro
organic.
Quo.
It was organic.
Yes. But then it became like, Mearl, we're coming up on the 4th of July. Are you going to get us? I'm like, no. I don't like that expectation.
Let's flip it. Tell me, is there one that sticks out in your head? Out of a million memories, is there 5 or 10?
There's so many. I'm going to tell you. Once again.
If you want to wait, you don't have to answer now.
When we first met, you don't remember this. We first met, there was a reception. I had come back to Memphis because I got out of the business and went into financial. Harold Ford Jr.
Harold Ford Jr. had it.
And it was, what's the name of that?
It was downtown.
It was downtown, and Felicia Suzanne's used to be in this building area. And it was the lobby of an historic building. But anyway, it was really, really nice. And Joey came in with...
We'd never met
with the anchor man, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey had a name tag, and everybody had a name tag. And Joey's name tag came off, and it was Wumpy Jawed on my jacket. And I said, oh, look, our name tags are stuck. He said, I'm already stuck on you. And I was like, thank you, God.
So clever.
Because going to a new place I don't care who you are. You want to make sure you've got somebody as your back.
Yeah.
And I just knew this guy's going to have my back. And it wasn't long after that there was a blow up in the studio, and you came to me and said, I saw everything that happened, and if you want me to say something, I will back you. You don't remember that either.
I do
not. But I remember it. And so how can I do anything other than say, I love Joey Sulipeck. I love.
We have had. I have been blessed. You've been a part of our family and of my life for many years. So let's. I got a couple more questions.
That was a great memory.
That is a good memory. What's something you believe strongly now that you didn't when you were younger?
Now, and I say this to journalists today, young people, old people, anyone. Sometimes it's just not your turn. And that is a hard lesson. Sometimes it's not about the color of your skin. It's not about your gender. It's not about your name. It's not about where you live. It's not about where you came from. It's not about whether or not you have the talent. Sometimes it's just not your time. And I think that is a difficult lesson for many, many, many people to grasp. I see mothers who seem to be competing with their young daughters. And I'm just like, it's not your time.
Wow.
It's your daughter's time. And I'm not saying you should go crawl into a hole or anything, but there are subtle differences that are in place, and they should remain in place. And sometimes you didn't get the job because you weren't the right person. That was you weren't the fit. And it had nothing to do with your gender or your color. It just wasn't your time. And that is the lesson I wish people could understand. Instead of, banging your head against the wall, did they cheat me out of something? They just didn't want me because of my Southern accent? Maybe it's just not your time.
Right. Well, you and I are both very like-minded in our faith.
Yes.
We know that God does direct us and opens doors, closes doors, and that's a huge part of all of that.
Yes.
And television is, in many respects, a godless entity that we have worked among some great believers. But overall, it's a tough industry.
It's a tough industry.
But that is, I've never heard you say that before, but that's so well put that if it's not your time, that doesn't mean you did anything wrong.
No, but there is a perfect time.
Right.
You and I both believe in God's perfect timing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not your time. And you may not, that's hard to accept.
Especially if you're...
That's hard to accept sometimes.
If you're a newsie, if you're hard charging, that can be difficult.
Yeah.
You know what it is perfect time for? How about some pictures? How about that young lady? Look at that. That's a young, driven Mearl Purvis.
Wow.
Mayoral race. You're there with Mayor Willie Harrington.
Oh, that had to be his...
And my friend Joseph Kiles, who I had just spoke to not that long ago. What year do you think this was? I kind of got an idea. I think this was around 2011. I'm taking these pictures, by the way, from the Weather Center.
You took some great... Gosh.
Oh, wait, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, so we got a lot to see here. Then there's our friend, Mr. Whalum, Kirk Whalum, in the studio. I love that shot.
Man, that's a great shot.
Isn't that a good one?
What?
Yeah, I know. He was a delight to talk to, promoting a new album.
He was so great.
This is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love this picture.
This was when we were both 12 years old.
This picture. What year was that?
I think it was around 2011. I tried to look at the dates, and I kept getting...
Oh, it's the old background.
Yeah, in 2011, the computer is like 4 inches thick, so that gives us a little bit of a sign there.
But, oh my goodness, the chairs are still the same.
The chairs are still the same.
Chairs are still the same.
Let's look at another one here. Now, what did I say? The hat.
I wasn't lying.
See?
I tell you. Look at this.
Look at that. Smoke on the water.
How are we laughing?
I don't know.
Because we would come
It would go from freezing cold to sweating through your...
We were dusty, sweaty, all day.
High atop the Fox booth, and we would broadcast from here, and the main stage was right behind us.
I've had every part of a pig. Have I had pig butt? Is a pig butt a
Let's
part?
go to the... Is that a thing?
Is that a thing?
Pig butt?
It is.
What would you call it? Ham hock?
What is it?
Okay, she's
Okay.
Mrs.
All right, I'm
Sulipeck.
sure I've had it.
The sound engineer says.
I
Butt and the shoulder together.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
All right.
then I've had it.
So anyway,
Oh, Joey, look at this.
remember that?
Y'all, look at this.
And the precursor, a long history with cowboy hats. I love that.
I love it.
And remember this
Oh,
event?
This was at the
That was
green.
at the Shelby Farms, like Save the Greenway or something.
Yes. That was when the Hyde Family Foundation was raising money to get, to start and finish the green
the
Greenway.
green line.
Greenway.
There's and
The
all
green
the
line.
all the things
And
that we love to
and they
use.
spent a ton of their money, and they were raising money to give the rest of us an opportunity to feel part of it. And Joey was.
I think we
had
both.
the same.
Yeah, how did we coordinate?
Well,
I don't know. No, we didn't. I don't know because I like this one. There's my beautiful bride, our sound engineer.
Lisa.
There's my woohoo.
Oh, wow.
Hubba.
Look at you. Look at our executive producer.
Look at the light coming off of
Were
just
we
above her hair.
emceeing?
Yeah, I think we did something. We were
'Cause
looking at
I'm
notes.
looking at these notes.
Yeah, we were doing something. I love
Wow.
that picture. Okay,
I love it.
Listen.
Who took this?
I don't know.
I love this.
Didn't we have a team of photographers just
well,
following
like
us?
all the producers
All
we
the
used to have.
Paparazzi. All right, Mearl, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to ask you
This is so great.
I'm going to ask you one final question.
I'm so proud of you, Joey.
As my first
I'm
guest,
so proud of you.
how do you hope, and listen, folks, this is one of the most authentic. I was big on authenticity all the time.
Yeah.
I always gravitated towards authentic people
Always.
and was blessed to know many, probably the one and only most. How would you like, honestly, for people to remember you? And listen, we know that our time on earth is brief. We know that seasons change and new generations come along, but how would you like to be remembered?
When she retired, she really was ready to go. That's one image I'd like for people to have. I wasn't playing around. I really thought about it. I'd given all that I thought I could, and I was ready to go. And I'd like to be remembered for someone who, honestly, when I ask, how are you, I really mean it. And it's not just a good morning. I really mean it. I care about people. And I always want to be thought of as someone who sincerely cared about people and, who would give you the shirt off her back, right? I don't want you to expect it, but I really, really practice being kind. That's important to me. Because I think that's how I think that's how you're closest to God, is being kind, giving a hand up to people.
People don't know this because when you work in TV news for so long, some people think that you adopt a persona or that you're not genuine. But one of the reasons we have been friends for so many years, and the reasons why you're friends with my sound editor, the lovely Mrs. Lisa, and our whole family, is because of how authentic you are and always have been. And so just know that I've always been a fan of you because you're so genuine. And, the same person you see on air was the same person you would see at the store, and always open and wanting to talk. And listen, when you're on air for a number of years, you have a lot of demands on your time, but you handled that with grace and aplomb, and you still do today. You are still a dear friend, and I hope you know that. And
I do.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
thankful you were on this first episode. It makes
Thank
it very
you.
special for me.
I'm not new to this.
No,
I'm
no.
true to this.
I love that.
I wish I had coined that phrase.
Well, we're going to
use it a
trademark
lot.
that. Trademark Ricky Bobby Industries. Yeah, we're going to trade that.
Joey, congratulations.
Thank you. Listen, that's our show.
How about Lexus of Memphis?
Stepping up.
How
And,
about that?
I'm a
Listen, you better get in while it's affordable. I've seen this happen. American Idol,
yeah.
people didn't get in.
Well,
And then all of a sudden, Coke is in there for $20 million. Everybody else got to pay $40.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of them for being supportive of the show, and we hope that you guys will too. You can look for this on your. Let's see, I've got it right now in some different
I'm
formats.
so happy
YouTube,
for you.
Spotify, and I think it's getting pushed out to some other areas as well. But I mean, what a treat to have Mearl Purvis here. And I'm just flipping through screens now.
I
Thank
am
you.
also going to be an assistant producer.
Well,
I'll be paid what Lisa's paid.
yeah, she's sat back in her chair and is so thankful you're here. All right, friends, the one and only Mearl Purvis
nice.
on
This
our
is
first
Thank
show.
you for inviting me, Joey.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I wouldn't have it any other way. Hey, Monica. I almost forgot. Oh,
Oh, tell her hello.
hey, Monica.
Good to see you.